What if I told you Toyota is working on an engine that runs on water? Sounds crazy, right? Like something straight out of science fiction. But here's the wild part. It's not fiction. It's real technology built around hydrogen, and what Toyota's doing could change the way we think about engines forever. Now, before you start picturing a Corolla that you fill up from your kitchen sink, let's set the record straight. The truth is both fascinating and complex, and it's definitely worth understanding. So, is Toyota building the future of clean driving, or chasing a dead end? Let's dive in. What the water engine really is. Okay, first things first, the water engine nickname sounds cool, but it's a bit misleading. Toyota isn't designing a car that literally runs on water. What they're working on is a hydrogen combustion engine, an engine that burns hydrogen gas instead of petrol or diesel. Here's how it works. Inside the engine, hydrogen combines with oxygen from the air and burns, producing energy. The only thing coming out of the exhaust pipe? Water vapor. That's why people call it a water engine. And this is key. You can't just pour tap water into the tank and drive off. To get hydrogen, you have to split water molecules apart into hydrogen and oxygen through a process called electrolysis, basically using electricity to crack the water. That takes energy. Hydrogen can also be made from natural gas, but that process isn't entirely clean. It still creates carbon emissions. So, while hydrogen itself is clean when it's burned, whether it's truly good for the planet depends on how that hydrogen is made. That's why Toyota avoids the flashy water engine label. They stick to hydrogen combustion because that's where the real science and the real potential lies. Toyota's role. Now, why is Toyota diving so deep into this? Well, this isn't their first time betting on new tech. Back in the late 90s, Toyota shocked the auto world with the Prius, the first mainstream hybrid car. While most automakers were stuck on traditional gas engines, Toyota took a massive gamble on hybrids, and it paid off. Fast forward to 2014, and Toyota launched the Mirai, one of the first hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. Unlike a combustion engine, the Mirai uses hydrogen to make electricity inside a fuel cell, which then powers an electric motor. Just like with combustion, the only emission is water vapor. Sure, the Mirai didn't become a bestseller, but it proved Toyota was serious about hydrogen. They even helped set up hydrogen fueling networks in Japan, Europe, and the US. That kind of long-term investment says a lot. Now, Toyota's exploring the next step, hydrogen combustion. It's similar to traditional engines, pistons, valves, and all, but with hydrogen instead of gasoline. The beauty? Toyota can adapt existing engine designs and factories rather than starting from scratch like with EVs. To prove the concept works, Toyota raced a hydrogen-powered Corolla in Japan's Endurance series. They weren't just chasing trophies, they were stress testing the engine under extreme conditions. And it worked. The tech breakdown. So how does a hydrogen engine actually stack up against battery electric vehicles? For one, refueling is a huge advantage. Filling a hydrogen tank takes about 5 minutes, just like pumping gas. Compare that to charging an EV, which can take anywhere from 30 minutes on a fast charger to several hours at home. Hydrogen is also incredibly abundant. It's the most common element in the universe. While it takes energy to extract and store, it's not dependent on rare minerals like lithium or cobalt. That could reduce dependence on mining-heavy supply chains. And here's something engineers love. Hydrogen combustion engines are mechanically familiar. Car makers like Toyota can use much of the same equipment and know-how they already have. That could make production faster and cheaper in the long run. But there are major hurdles. First, infrastructure. Hydrogen fueling stations are extremely limited, often just a few in major cities. Without a network, it's hard for consumers to even consider buying one. Second, efficiency. Producing, storing, and transporting hydrogen takes energy, sometimes a lot of it. If that energy doesn't come from renewables, hydrogen cars lose much of their environmental benefit. And then there's safety. Hydrogen is very light and highly flammable. Modern tanks are incredibly strong, but the public still remembers headlines, and fear can slow adoption. Here's the big question: can hydrogen cars really compete with EVs? Right now, the honest answer is, not yet. Electric vehicles have sprinted ahead, dominating showrooms, headlines, and highways. In 2025, global EV sales hit record highs, with countries like the UK and China doubling down on electric infrastructure and subsidies. The result? More EV models, more charging points, and a clear consumer shift that hydrogen just can't match. At least, not for now. Hydrogen cars, meanwhile, remain in the shadows, a niche technology with promise but no path to mass adoption yet. You can see that clearly in the US, where Toyota's Mirai and Hyundai's Nexo are confined mostly to California, simply because there aren't enough fueling stations anywhere else. Building each hydrogen station costs millions of dollars, while EV chargers can pop up in malls, parking lots, and even homes. That's a battle hydrogen just can't win today. And this is where the story gets interesting. Hydrogen might find its power in size, not speed. In heavy transport, trucks, buses, ships, batteries face limits. They're heavy, take hours to charge, and add enormous weight. Hydrogen, on the other hand, refuels in minutes and offers longer range, which is why companies like Toyota, Hyundai, and Nikola Motors are investing heavily in hydrogen trucks and commercial fleets. Even Japan and South Korea are building hydrogen corridors and subsidizing fuel cell factories, betting that this tech could power the world's supply chains. For everyday drivers, it's still a waiting game. Toyota's Mirai proves hydrogen cars work, but without infrastructure, adoption can't grow. Until refueling networks expand, hydrogen will stay a futuristic idea rather than a consumer reality. Experts predict it could take 10 to 20 years before hydrogen vehicles become mainstream, and that depends on massive global investments in green hydrogen production, refueling stations, and policy support. Meanwhile, Europe and North America are riding the electric wave. Even automakers like Stellantis recently ended their hydrogen car programs to focus fully on EVs. But Toyota isn't playing to win today, they're playing the long game. If EVs hit a wall, whether it's limited raw materials for batteries, rising costs, or grid capacity issues, hydrogen could be the comeback kid. And when that day comes, Toyota, Hyundai, and a few others plan to be ready. So, could Toyota's water engine really replace EV batteries? Or is this just smart hedging? Hydrogen combustion has real advantages: fast refueling, familiar tech, and abundant fuel supply. But it also faces big challenges: cost, infrastructure, and efficiency. Toyota's not promising a revolution tomorrow. They're keeping the door open for the future, testing, refining, and waiting for the right moment. Because if the world hits a roadblock with batteries, Toyota wants to be the one holding the keys to the next solution. So what do you think? Are hydrogen water engines the next big leap, or just an interesting side road on the path to cleaner cars? Let me know in the comments below.